Good afternoon, or evening, I guess. Rye Guy here. Welcome to the shop. Well, today what we're going to be addressing is bar wobble. I've done a video on this before, but we're going to cover it again because the first video I did was actually one of the first videos on my channel. It was horrible. So anyway, over time, with these Grizzly 660's, and I'm sure with other bikes as well, there's some sort of bracing system up here for the steering stem that goes from the top of the handlebars down to the bottom. What happens is, over time, the bushings wear out and you get some play. So, what we're going to address is that today. Yeah, first thing we're going to do here is we're just going to remove all the accessories off the rack, because I need to take the rack off and you take this plastic cover off, and in order to get at that. So, let's go ahead and do that, and we'll see you guys in a second. Alright, so you can see we really didn't have to remove too much. Once that plastic cover comes off of here, that's where we got to get. I don't know if you guys see that on the camera. This bracket right here, that's what holds the two plastic pieces, or bushings. They call them bushings. It's just, all it is a fancy hose clamp in this case. Obviously other four-wheelers are going to be different. Yeah, I see it. I look like a dummy. But anyway, I didn't need to remove the speedometer or the gauge or anything like that. These wires here, that's for my front LED lights and the switch. So what we're going to do is just two 10mm bolts on that bracket we need to remove. So I'm going to get my ratchet over here behind the camera in a long extension, and we should be able to get these out. I'm going to try getting this far one out here first. Eventually. As far as the torque specs go, click. That's pretty much it. You don't want to over tighten it, obviously, to stretch your bolts, but you don't want to leave it loose either. I don't Loctite anything that shouldn't be Loctite. Let's face it, folks. I mean, I'm just a backyard mechanic like most of you fellas, and there it is. Look at that. Yeah. And for the most part, for the real important bolts, I use torque specs. For bolts like this, I use my common sense. Okay, so we're going to pull those two bolts out, and when you pull that bracket out, there's the main wiring cable here. I think it's for the brake. I feel, yeah, it's for the brake. It's kind of wrapped around there, so don't pull straight out. Kind of rotate that plate as you bring it out. Okay, so if I recall, I've already done this once before. Shove the wiring harnesses out of the way, and the first piece to come off, you'll need to wiggle it back and forth a little bit here eventually. There we go. First piece come off. Again, that's all it is, just like a fancy hose clamp. And there are two dust seals that go in here and here. That's why it's grooved out. And over time, what happens is just over time, it just wears down. That used to be a lot thicker. So actually, I'll bring one of the new ones out. All right, so this is the old one on the bottom and the new one on top. And I don't know, it's kind of hard to see really, but anyway, there is some difference between them. This guy's worn out. This guy's not. Brand hammer new. Front to back, these are the same. What you will find, and this gets a little bit difficult when you're putting everything back together. I'm going to see if I can pull these out of here. Hey, there's one. Get out, get out, get out. There it is. There's two. So the spacers, they go inside like yay from front to back. So everything matches together with those as well. Now, with these spacers here, they are hard to get out and they are hard to put back in. So I'm going to clean that up a little bit with the wire brush so that it's a little bit easier to slide in and out for the next time. And the most difficult part about this, honestly, is getting that back piece out. Now, I don't know if you can see in there. I'll try to get a small light. That bracket, there you can see the two dust seals. There's one right there, one right there. That bracket has to come out of there, so you got to kind of wiggle it out. So what I've done in the past, just kind of grab a hold of the steering stem, and it kind of drops out of place like that. We're going to grab it, and there she is. And the back one's a lot more worn in than the front one, so that's all there is to that. And we got to get those dust seals. Okay, we got the little stays here all cleaned up. and put a light coat of grease on them so they're not going to rust, and they're going to slide into the spot a little bit easier. You can see actually on the steering stem where these clamps go, or this bushing. By the way, the part you're looking for is 1UY 23812-00. That's the Yamaha part. I haven't found an aftermarket part. I'm sure you could probably make something. I forget how much I paid for these in Canadian dollars. I don't know. Canada dollar sucks right now. It's probably $1,000 a piece. No. I can't remember what I paid for them. They weren't that expensive. Just go buy the OEM parts. For the most part, they'll probably keep that in stock. And that's from the 2002 Grizzly, such as this, up to the 2007? I'm going to say 7. Anyway, it doesn't fit the 700s. That only fits the 660's. As far as the 450s go, they probably use the same one on the Kodiak and Kodiak 450 and 400. I don't know. You'll have to consult your parts department at your local Yamaha dealer. Most of you know I deal with Liberty CC in Dartmouth, 1 Ralston Avenue. Plug for them. They've been fantastic. I love the service I get there. Honestly, it's the best dealer experience I've had. Okay, so what we're gonna do to get this on here, this is the tricky part, because you gotta get these dust seals in here on one side, like so. Okay, and then you got to work your way around that stem, that steering stem, top and bottom, by the way, and then put this on here, well, the new piece, not the old piece, put the new piece on there and match everything up so that you create the seal and it doesn't separate when you're on there, and then you got to put the stays in and then match the stays up to the bolt holes in there. So that's always not fun. So we're going to give that a shot, so that's what I'm going to do. And so pro tip, I just pop the top end of this off before. If you've never taken that off, it just pops right off, just straight off. And to keep the bars away from the rest of the frame so I can actually get behind it and work, I've used a 1944 Boffer 44 mil anti-aircraft shell. So if you have one of those lying around, that's great. If not, probably just a plastic bottle or something to just keep everything away from it. That worked perfect because it was the size I need. Also what I'm doing, little dab of grease on the inside of both the top and the bottom, so I can actually kind of glue that seal in place first, so I'm not going to lose it and lose my mind. So another little dab of grease. And throw the grease gun on the floor when you're done, that always helps. Like so. A little grease won't hurt nothing. Ah. So, that's the side that opens. So I'm going to, hard to do it when I'm trying to do it on the camera here. Okay. Just kind of squish it in there. So now that shouldn't fall off. Now I can work my way around. Same thing with the bottom. There we go. Okay, let's try that. See what that looks like. Wish me luck. You didn't wish hard enough. Boy, it pays to invest to have a good light. This is not one of them. Most of that was done by feel. But anyway, as you can see, maybe, try to get where you're at. Yeah, okay, you can see that. Got the back side in, had the 2 seals sitting there so that I could grease the front side to kind of lock everything in place. Again, grease in this situation is not going to hurt nothing. Put that front piece on and slid the 2 stays on either side. Now, don't forget that you do have sweat in the eye, that you have one of these plates to put on over it as well, and that does orientate that way. So, what we're going to do is do that next. And the cable for the brake line goes over that as well. There we go. Now, another challenge that we're going to run into is lining up those bolt holes to the frame. They do take long bolts, and I'm going to grab a little bit of anti-seize to put on there as well. I normally do that for anytime I take the bike apart. I'll look at what might seize over time and add some anti-seize. Okay, just make sure we got free movement here. Yep. And click. Click. Double check. Click. Okay, good. So, hopefully, we just solved that issue. And it definitely feels like we did. So, good. Good, good. So anyway, that's how you take care of that kind of bar wobble thing you got going on. And, oh yeah, put that cap on. There. Next thing we're going to be digging into are those A-arms down below, and the ball joints. The bottom ball joints is what we got to start replacing. Now, I took a quick look at those the other day, and I got a concern. And that concern is the ball joints have been replaced once before, back when it had maybe 7,000 kilometers. And my concern now is that there's play where the ball joints actually sit inside of the lower A-arms. And if that being the case, well, there might have to be broken out. I really don't feel like paying for a new set of bottom A-arms, because Yamaha had a wicked design with the top A-arms and ball joints, as in they're one freaking piece. So because of that, you actually have to buy, unless you're a good machinist, the actual upper A-arm and ball joint assembly in order to replace your upper ball joints. They've been done, they're fine, they're not loose. It's the bottom ones that are the problem right now. So anyway, thanks for joining me on this one. I'm going to get everything assembled here in the top, because we're not going to need to take anything else off to get at those bottom A-joints, A-arm joints. And yeah, I'm going to go take a shower, because it's hot. Well, it's muggy, but yeah, not as hot as it was, or else I wouldn't have been out here. Okay guys, thanks for joining me on this one, and we'll see you next time. 1932, bull for anti-aircraft shell, not 44.